All right, we will be going live in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Yet another big news day. We've had a host of news days in succession that have been damn near historic, and today is yet another big news day. So for many of you folks, you may see the title of the piece is simple. Is the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, is the SCOTUS pro-Trump? Folks are starting to suggest that. Folks are starting to suggest that the Supreme Court appears to be in Trump's pocket. Now, I'm here to ask you folks, we'll make the opinion, we'll come to the conclusion as we continue marching on. But do you believe the Supreme Court is doing what should be done? Preventing Colorado, Maine, Illinois, and other states from making their own independent decision that a presidential candidate should not be on the ballot? Or do you believe what those states are doing based on January 6th is accurate, and that the Supreme Court overturning their decision shows that the Supreme Court is in favor of number 45, President Trump? What say you? Is the Supreme Court pro-Trump? Now, this is not just in reference to what just happened today. We all know Trump had the lower courts give him a scathing rebuke in regards to his immunity case, suggesting he should have immunity from what happened on January 6th. Well, he took that to the Supreme Court, and so far he's had good luck there as well. They've actually decided to hear that case, and whether a president has immunity. Not only did they decide to hear it, but they pushed it out until the end of April for deliberations to begin, and you may not get a ruling as late as June. Understand, if there is one thing that is really important to the Trump's campaign, their chances of success, their chances of beating these rulings in court, it is the product of delay. The goal is not to come back with a not guilty verdict. The goal is not to get cases dropped. The goal is to delay the entire process until Trump can become president, and we can take it again from another angle. So the Supreme Court, by taking the immunity case, delaying the deliberations till April, whereas we don't get a decision until probably almost the beginning of summer, regardless of how you feel about the Supreme Court, if the goal is to delay, you got to admit that was beneficial to Trump. So folks are suggesting that the Supreme Court is pro-Trump. What say you? And last but not least, if folks do believe the Supreme Court is pro-Trump, particularly on the left side of the aisle, what are the chances that if the Congress goes left, that the liberals may try to pack the court? In other words, let's say Trump doesn't win, and you get another Democratic Congress in there. So once you came to the conclusion that the current Supreme Court is pro-Trump, pro-conservative, what are the chances that in the future the Democrats may try to pack the courts to get some relief from that? That is the topic of today's show, something we have hoped we would never have to come to, a Supreme Court being that biased, but we're going to talk about it. Program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. You know how we do it here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So understand, you're going to hear opinions left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak. If you disagree with the host, no one gives a damn. That's how we run the program. So going straight to the comments here, appreciate you folks that are already tapping the screen. Pro-Constitution, says Craig Beats on YouTube. So stating that, no, the Supreme Court is not pro-Trump. They're pro-Constitution. The Supreme Court is doing what is in defense of the Constitution. That's what we're talking about. Old McDonald and Trump didn't pack the courts. Dick Brown, you're talking about Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell at the time preventing Barack Obama from appointing Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court, suggesting that by doing that, it helped Trump pack the court. There are a lot of folks that agree with that and remember that sentiment. Going straight to the box, we're asking that question: is the Supreme Court appearing to be pro-Trump? Going straight to Ron in the box. Appreciate you folks already tuning in. Happy Monday to you all. Good afternoon, Ron. I lost my friend of 8 years before because I'm conservative. Really? Wow. You lost your friend of 8 years because you're conservative. He couldn't handle your politics. Ron, good afternoon.
What's up, Tim? It's been a long time, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Good to have you back on. So we're talking about the Supreme Court ruling in favor of President Trump today and last week in regards to taking his immunity plea. Do you believe that the Supreme Court at all, in any way, shape, or form, is pro-Trump?
Yes. Currently, right now, with how the justices stack, absolutely. It's I would say it's more pro-conservative, and if Trump is leaning more towards those beliefs, although he may not be, I would say yeah.
Yeah. Well, pro-conservative, such as rolling back Roe v. Wade, I can agree with you, but pro-conservative and pro-Trump are two different things, though.
In some aspects, yeah, but they kind of you kind of don't find too many conservatives that are outright anti-MAGA. It's very few.
Yeah, well, because MAGA represents such a large voting bloc among Republicans, you cannot be a conservative and anti-MAGA and have any hopes of winning.
You got a point there, because Trump has definitely set a standard, like, as far as it goes in regards to running. If you're not backed by Trump, you're unlikely to get any type of popularity within your counties on a congressional level, as far as congressional members go, as far as Senate being a senator goes. If you don't have backing by Donald Trump and MAGA, you're likely not getting in any type of. I mean, we've seen what happened to Mitt Romney.
I agree with you halfway, because during the midterms, a lot of candidates that did not have the backing of Trump. Remember, he was going for Dr. Oz and Herschel Walker and Kerry Lake. They all lost. He was even starting to promote, cannot even think of the black woman down there in Georgia that was running against Governor Kemp. I can't think of her name right now, but he was even promoting her just because he was pissed off with Governor Kemp, and Governor Kemp won by a landslide. So all of his candidates do not win. But real quick, I wanted to ask you this, because I saw this on YouTube from Cheeky Chops, who's certainly a friend of the program. He says Trump is taking over. Do you see that? Trump is just literally taking over.
Taking over, I mean, since 2022, the red wave is rocking right now. They got their Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Right now, it's looking like the red wave is rocking. I mean, I'm not a poll guy, because in 2016, Trump had shitty polls as well compared to Hillary. But Joe Biden and the Democrats are not in favor of him and his Palestine policies right now. I mean, we got tide and friction going on within the Democratic Party. I'm not gonna outright say that he's rolling, but the ball's in court right now,
yeah.
and they playing ball right now. GOP is definitely playing ball, and with that past ruling that just happened with the Supreme Court, it's about to be game time. And if Biden's gonna need a damn good campaign, if he even thinks he's
so what about you, Ron? Who do you want to see in 2024 prevail?
If I could not choose between the two, but I can't, obviously I have to choose between the two. I would personally much rather have the president, Joe Biden. He's done more work. Obviously, he's done way more work. Me personally, I would personally have Joe Biden in office. I've felt like the bipartisan bill, the CHIPS Act, the PACT Act.
What about the number one issue concerning voters right now, the border? That's the number one issue. How do you see Biden on the border? That was a long that was one letter A with about 14 H's after it. Go ahead.
Because I feel feel like that's like it's a lose-lose. Like I feel like any president in that situation it's a lose-lose. It's similar to like when Bush flew over Katrina. It's one of those things. Like the Democrats, the people, not the politicians, they definitely don't want a fully closed border. Obviously, not necessarily saying they want a fully open border.
Okay, let me rephrase it. When you compare Trump and Biden together, do you see no difference on how they handle the border? Do you see one of them being better, one of them being worse at all?
Not really. I don't see a difference. I think maybe people tend to want to come and migrate to America more when it's a president that's not like Donald Trump in office because he's so much more polarizing.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, yeah. But as far as the policies and anything going on as far as enforcement, it was no different than when Trump was in office and Biden's in office. It's just you have a larger influx of people coming to America because Joe Biden is in office and he might just be a tad bit more.
You don't recall President Biden rolling back some of Trump's restrictions, which led to more folks maybe coming over here?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He's definitely a little bit more lenient in regards to the migration within America. Do I think it's an invasion like some of the people on the right may say? No, but there is a lot of people coming into America undocumented.
All right, but it's not your number one issue.
I wouldn't say it's the number one issue in America. I think we got other issues like domestic terrorism that we need to focus on and things like that.
What's your, real quick before I'm moving on, Ron, it's been a pleasure talking to you. What is your definition of domestic terrorism? What part of that you're most concerned with?
The mass unalivings that are going on, that's definitely I think that should be our biggest concern. The fact that we just had the biggest American sport event televised, and then they go to their celebration and we have a mass unaliving there, speaks volumes to what we need to do as a country to eradicate this. I'm not, and the trope that the people across the border are coming here from the CCP and Iran and Hamas and those countries and whatever it may be, and they're anti-Americans. That's not our issue. Our issue is our own people in America doing these things, and that's the dangers that we're dealing with.
All right, Ron, I do appreciate it. Come on back through anytime. Spirited conversation. Thank you.
Alrighty, Tim.
You too. All right, look in the comments. People making under 100,000, people making under 100K shouldn't be voting for Trump. Shaking my head off. I'd be curious. I can't pronounce the name, Arrivez or something. Why do you suggest people making under 100K should not vote for President Trump? After all, the border is the number one issue right now among a lot of folks, and the folks that are complaining are suggesting that more assistance is going to border migrants than them, and most of them that are complaining are making under 100K. So I'd have to ask you to elaborate on that. Building the wall is needed, says Neon on YouTube. Here's the issue I have, though. If we really believe the border's fucked up, we really believe Biden is responsible, and we think that something needs to be done right now, why not do something now and still blame Biden? Even folks on the right are openly admitting that Trump wants the border to stay the way it is because it helps his campaign. So is the border really a major issue? If you're okay with leaving it the way it is for 8 or 9 months until Trump can get in and fix it, is it really a problem? I don't believe we need to pretend like Biden is not responsible for a lot of the border. I'm not here to pretend like the border didn't get worse under Biden. But if it's that bad and we need to fix it right now, keep it open until I get back in office. Something doesn't sound right about that. And folks on the right are admitting it. It's not something the left is making up to fearmonger. Folks on the right are admitting that. Real quick, I'll give my solicitation before I go back to the next caller. For my YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button. Subscribe if you will. This is an uncensored program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. That's how we run the program. We're here 1 p.m. Monday through Friday Central. You don't have to agree with the host or any damn body else in the program. We always observe free speech here. Trump is only after himself. Trump is only after himself. Wake up. He doesn't care about the American people, says Tommy. There's a lot of American people that think he does, though. It's a lot of American people that want Trump to expose the folks that they believe don't give a damn about America. Most of them being liberal, but there's a hell of a lot of folks on the right. They also believe they don't need to be there. So they believe Trump does care about the American people. Just close the border for a few years, then deport millions of illegal immigrants back to where they came from. Neon, I don't know if you could correct things in the course of a few years. Not to mention, don't come here illegally, come here the right way. If you completely close the border, you're also closing it off to the legal migrants as well in the process of doing that. Going back to the box, appreciate you folks on TikTok. Tap the screen, nearly 700 plus of you in here. Get your boy up to 20,000 likes. Going back to the box, real quick, we'll keep it moving with Amanda again. Good afternoon, Amanda. Welcome to the Bro, politicians are interested in helping those like themselves. Trump isn't a good candidate. Well, some would say he isn't a typical politician, so maybe he goes against what you're saying. Amanda, good afternoon.
Hi. Did I just hear you say leave the border open for another 8 or 9 months because that's what Trump wants to do?
That's what folks on the right is saying, that they were...
Do you know that we have had a bill called H.R. 2 sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk for months?
Okay.
Months and months and months that does nothing but deal with what Border Patrol needs and is a one policy bill regarding the border that does nothing but what the Border Patrol needs, and it's sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk right now, and he will not sign it. Why?
Okay, I have heard that as well, and let's assume that's true. That still doesn't take away from what I just stated. You got Republicans suggesting that Trump has... Hold on, wait a minute, Amanda, listen, let's have a conversation.
Okay.
You got Republicans that are coming out and admitting that they've been told do not work with Biden on the border because it will benefit Trump. Republicans that would have been part of the bill you're talking about, they're admitting it.
What has Biden put forth to deal with the border? He could go into, on the very first day, and sign 90 executive orders to get rid of all of Trump's policies that were working. But he can't go and sign an executive order to do anything with the border now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what I'm saying, okay, wait. What I'm saying is that I'm not giving Biden any accolades at all on the border. I believe the border has been a disaster under President Biden. You're not going to hear me defend President Biden. Nevertheless, these Republicans are saying that Trump wants to keep the border open until he gets reelected as well. So he too...
Can you name me a Republican who said that?
The one from Oklahoma that worked on the bill.
That's cool. I'm from Oklahoma. He never, Lankford, he never said that.
Okay. You haven't heard a single Republican come out and say...
he's a senator. Our governor is actually working with Texas and has sent National Guard to the border.
Okay.
So Lankford has no pull whatsoever.
Well, I will tell you this, whether he has pull or not, if you have not heard any Republican admit that, you haven't tuned into a lot of news. Folks in the comments are seeing it.
I don't care what the comments say. Do you tune into like the White House press briefings and things like that when you hear reporters asking Karine Jean-Pierre and Mr. Sullivan on the things that they can do, that they will actually sit there and deny and lie to the American public about?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing, Amanda. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just simply saying Republicans have admitted what you're saying you didn't hear. That happened. Just because you didn't hear it, that happened. Folks have been stating that Trump does not want any Republican to work with Biden on the border. That happened. They're admitting it.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Why doesn't he just go? He doesn't have to have Congress to shut the border.
True.
He can do it himself.
True.
So why doesn't he do it? Trump has even asked him, sir, if you want to fix the border, you don't need me, you don't need Congress, you don't need anyone else. Joe Biden goes to the border and asks Trump to work with him on the border. That is ridiculous. All he has to do is go sign an executive order and do it himself.
But why would you sign an executive order? Just like with Trump, his executive orders got flipped by Biden, which were giving Biden flack for doing that. If you sign another executive order, it's not secure. Why not work with Congress and get something locked in?
Why isn't it secure? Because look what his executive orders did to destroy the border and how it is now.
So
obviously they work.
So no, they don't. If you put in an executive order,
look at our country now.
I'm trying to explain it to you. If you sign an executive order, the next president, because Trump undid Obama's executive orders, Biden undid Trump's. Why not work with Congress to prevent that from happening?
Okay, so why not sign an executive order? I'm not even a president or a politician, and here's my advice to Biden. Sign an executive order to close the border, and then get with Congress and work on H.R. 2, which is a standalone border policy that we've been asking them to work with us on. Standalone policies. We don't want pork-fed policies that only 5% of the bill deals with the border, and the rest of it is giving more money to Ukraine.
Okay, everybody outside, you mentioned Ukraine. Let me make it clear, Amanda, other than Trump, other than MAGA, everybody else in the United States wants to help Ukraine. I mean, I'm just telling you, that is only MAGA and Trump that don't want to do that.
MAGA and Trump, okay, what we're saying is Ukraine is not our problem. They've never been our problem. They're not in NATO. They're not an ally. Why are we worried about Ukraine? Period. They've been a corrupt nation for years.
You think Russia has been corrupt at all, or just Ukraine?
I don't think Russia's any of our business either.
Okay, Russia has...
I've talked to you about this before. I don't understand the obsession of Americans and Russia. I don't.
Amanda, Russia has been our interest. Russia has been our interest since the Stalin era. We've always been interested in what's going on in Russia.
Who cares? That's what I'm saying. America needs to get the heck out of everybody else's business and worry about our own country.
So 70 plus years of American politicians have got it wrong, and all of a sudden Trump and MAGA is getting it right?
Did I say that?
That's exactly what you're saying. Is that everybody else that focused on Russia from literally the Roosevelt era until now are all wrong, and Trump suggesting we shouldn't deal with it is right.
It was our business if they're threatening us, but they're not.
Okay.
If you do the history, Ukraine is not a sovereign nation. It never has been. It's never been its own country. It is actually Russia's land. If they want to take it over, then let them take it over. I don't care.
So
why are we sending billions upon billions upon billions of dollars that now the Pentagon has...
Hang on a second. Hello? No, I didn't. What's up?
I have a emergency to university. I was wondering if you can grab that. It just gets dropped off by 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I got it.
You got that? Okay.
Yep. All right.
And then, again, that's 50. So.
Sounds good to me.
Alrighty. And then they said they were putting it over by where we drop off the, where we normally drop off the labs.
Okay.
It should be like a brown envelope or something. But if you ask them, they should know where it is.
All right, I get it.
So,
all right.
Just let me know when it's picked up and dropped off. Then.
Will do. Bye. Right in the middle of a show. Thank you, YouTubers, for tuning in. Okay.
At all. And I, as a mother don't want my money, thank you very much, that I work very hard for, going to a country that is corrupt.
Okay, okay, Amanda, can you hear me? Because I had a phone call come in.
I can, yes.
Okay, the issue with the Ukraine, why do you think that every one of our allies that are members of NATO in the region want us to continue assisting in Ukraine? Why do you think that is?
Because we're giving more money than they are.
Okay, so...
And we're allowing it.
Why do you think they fear Russia?
I don't think any country is as big as America, so why would
that doesn't answer the question, though. Why do our allies in the region fear Russia?
So do you...
You're not answering the question. You're asking them.
Do you think it's okay that our Pentagon is investigating 50-plus fraudulent activities between our money going to Ukraine?
You didn't answer the question. Amanda, you didn't answer my question. You just filled it in with one of your own.
Okay, what's your question?
My question is, why are our allies fearing Russia if they're not harmful to you?
Did I say Russia wasn't harmful? I think they have powerful weapons. I just don't care.
Okay.
If they want to take over Ukraine, I do not care.
And you believe they will? And you believe they will stop there?
Well, I don't care if they stop there. What business is it of ours?
If they don't stop there, the only thing left is NATO member nations.
Do you think America is okay? I mean, have we gone into other countries and caused problems?
All right. Yes, but what does that got to do with Russia?
Should we do that?
No, what does that got to do with Russia, though, Amanda?
Because it is Russia and Ukraine's deal. I don't care. And if other people that are closer to Ukraine want to deal with their money and their finances, then Ukraine can do that and those countries can do that. I am not supporting billions upon billions of my money to get sent to Ukraine in a corrupt fashion.
Okay.
When it starts becoming corrupt, that's when I have a problem. And if Pentagon is investigating it because it is now corrupt, then it's a problem, right?
I disagree, but I want to ask you this last question.
So you disagree with the Pentagon investigating where the money's actually going?
I disagree with everything you said is happening in that region. I mean, I don't think you said anything that I agree with, Amanda.
Okay, so you think that our Pentagon investigating where corrupt money is going in a country at war is wrong on the Pentagon's part?
No, I'm fine with them investigating where the money is going. I'm not fine with them leaving Ukraine to die. I'm not agreeing with that.
If you can agree that they are investigating corrupt money, then wouldn't you say, let's put a stop to this until we know where the money is going?
Amanda, people are getting killed. If we put a stop to do an investigation in a war zone, how do you trace where money is going in a war zone?
You know that for a fact?
Do I know Ukraine is in a war zone for a fact?
Yes.
Are you suggesting that Ukraine may not be at war?
I'm saying it's highly suspicious to me that we watched Desert Storm on television being bombed in live action, and we have not seen anything of Ukraine.
Okay.
Nothing.
So all of our,
what I say is strange.
So all of our allies in the region that believe the Ukraine are at war, they may be in on it or something?
Have they been there?
It's a war zone, Amanda. They can't go there.
So
it's a war zone.
So reporters go into a war zone and doing interviews with the president during a war zone, is that normal?
Yeah, okay. I don't even know where to go. Expect you to take it that far off the path to suggest that Ukraine is not even at war. That really shocked me. I do got to move it on, though, man. Listen, you're always welcome back. I'm not cutting your time. I do have to move it on anytime. Appreciate you coming through.
Look into corrupt money. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, in moving the program on, I didn't expect that. I mean, a lot of folks, particularly a lot of my beloved MAGA, believe that we shouldn't help the Ukraine. But she is the first to suggest that they may not even be at war. that the money, the corrupt money going to the Ukraine may just be being squandered. That they don't even need it because they're not at war. I've never heard that before. So we get a lot of new things on the program that go in wild directions. That's a first. That is a first. Looking in the comments, and by the way, Biden has been there, so I guess he kind of lied on it. I believe Trudeau of Canada, I believe the Prime Minister of Britain, they've all been to the Ukraine since the war began. So there may be a host of leaders in on it, and of course Trump, being an outsider, exposing corruption, is the only one that knows the truth. Perhaps that's what's going on, which is why only Trump and MAGA do not want to help the Ukraine and have a different opinion of them than the entire free world. So maybe Trump knows something and nobody else does. Looking in the comments, you don't think it's odd that a drug addict was hired through a Ukrainian gas company? Debbie, I'm assuming you're talking about Hunter Biden. No, I don't listen. I'm not going to pretend like there may not have been some pay for play with Hunter Biden. My guess is some of the money that Jared Kushner and Trump's daughter received was in on something of that nature. I think that if you go and check the backgrounds of family members of world leaders, you'll probably find a lot of that. So I'm not pretending like Hunter Biden may have not been paid in a pay for play deal or something of that nature because of his father. Possible. Very possible. But that doesn't mean that the Ukraine is not at war. I don't know where to go with that. By the way, for my YouTubers, certainly smash that like button. I don't get my YouTubers to smash that like button very often, but you know we run an uncensored program, so I get some folks don't always like the commentary of everybody. Judge Shukan, the same attorney appointed judge by Obama, she was the attorney for Schiller and Boyce for Burisma, the company Hunter Biden was affiliated with along with the big guy. Well, here's the problem with 10% to the big guy, who that's supposed to represent President Biden. You got a Republican Congress. This is the time to impeach President Biden if you can find something. If you don't find nothing, the guy is innocent. Isn't that what we said about President Trump when the impeachment of Trump failed? If you don't get Trump, if you don't get Biden while you have a Republican Congress, don't come complaining about it after it's over with. This was what happened with Hillary Clinton. Everyone said Hillary Clinton was guilty. She should be locked up. She spent 11 hours testifying in front of Congress. They came up with nothing. If there was something there, remember Trump promised if he got elected, he would lock Hillary Clinton up. If nothing comes out of Hunter Biden, that's it. That is it, folks. Looking in the comments, she's already in Gitmo, says 382. I've heard, and like I said, left of Bernie Sanders, I'm having dinner with QAnon. We got someone suggesting that Hillary Clinton is currently incarcerated in Gitmo. I've had callers suggest that Hillary Clinton has already been executed. I've had folks suggest that. So we get some pretty strong opinions. Real quick in the comment section, remember when Bill Clinton ransacked the White House, installed $2 million worth of paintings and other stuff? I'm going to play ignorance. I don't remember that. Ransacked the White House and installed $2 million in paintings. I don't know what the point of that is, because some folks suggested that Melania Trump ransacked the presidential garden and destroyed it. I mean, what's the point? They have the right to change the White House decor. Don't know where you're going with that. Going back to the box. Appreciate you folks tuning in. FSU holding on there. Is the SCOTUS Pro Trump? FSU, good afternoon.
Hey, handsome man, it's hard to listen, man, after you see these conspiracy theories, man.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect her to go that far with it.
Nah, I'll touch on Trump for a second. I guess we always have to, right? I think my view on what they did with the states removing them from the ballot and overturning that is I think they probably should have. I think it's bad precedence. You don't want to legislate something like that, nor do you want to legislate term limits, man. And here's the thing. We get to decide. That is not going to be taken away from us. We decided in 2020 We decided in the midterm election. We'll decide in 24 when it's time to vote. And I'm comfortable that, you know, we lean left as a country with everything.
You think so?
100%. Yeah, I think the only general election, and I know general elections don't determine the presidency, but just to keep it in as far as which way the country leans, the Republicans have won one general election in the last 40 years. And then the women have overtaken men as far as the majority in this country. The Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, but I get your point, FSU, about particularly about the women. There's a lot of women voters and rolling back Roe v. Wade, but I always ask that question: if women are losing so many rights, why are there so many female Trump supporters? And I always ask, where my female Trump supporters at? And they come up all over the place.
Yeah, you say Trump supporters, but again, they are a lot of them. You are absolutely correct. They are a large. They're a large body, but they are not the majority, is the point. And they just lost a Republican stronghold as in Georgia. They won Texas by 5 points, and they have going back have won that by double digits. Romney won Texas when he lost the presidency by 15 points. So Texas is slipping away from the Republican Party, and Georgia already flipped. So I just think the voters are going to decide. And then I also wanted to touch on what the last caller touched on. I think we've gotten away from the fact that Russia is a communist body, right? It's always been countries that hold democratic values versus communism. And when it's so funny that the Republican Party is so concerned with our southern border, but they're completely fine with Russia crossing their border and going into Ukraine.
But they believe that America, like my last caller believes that America should get out of foreign issues. Just let the chips fall where they may.
Handsome, unpack what I just said. They're okay with Russia telling their citizens, hey, they're going on a peacekeeping mission, and they went and invaded another country, went across their border to invade another country. The reason why it doesn't matter is communism is grow. Anytime communism is attempting to grow, we have a problem with that, and we should. It's no difference. That has not changed. So I don't think that if you have a problem with undocumented people coming across our border, you should have a problem with Russia going across Ukraine's border too. And just to say, hey, I don't care, it's not us. Well, you're an idiot if you believe that. Because it could be us.
Then there's a lot of idiots out there Russia
grows so big, then it's the rest of the world versus us.
Well, let me respond. In regards to you saying that Russia growing big, this is what I don't get. It's almost like a two-edged sword for President Biden. If he did what folks on the right suggest, stay out of foreign affairs, let Russia and Ukraine hash it out on their own, first thing they would be saying is under President Biden's watch, Russia got bigger and stronger because he didn't do anything. He was inept. Russia seized the opportunity.
The opposite is true. Russia is weaker under Biden than they were under Trump.
Yeah.
It's an indisputable fact.
Yeah. Well, it's undeniable that because Biden assisted the Ukraine, Russia has lost a lot of manpower and assets. Even if they win, they are a weaker nation now, having been in war for 2 years than they were before Biden became president. It's hard to deny that.
100%. So, again, if you are pro-Russia and you sympathize with them, then you're not for us. What happened to America First? America First means that you are supporting our NATO members and you are opposing communism. You cannot be America First if you're sympathizing with a communist country. They are not our friend. Given the opportunity, they will wipe us off this planet. If you think there's a difference, if you think we're going to sing Kumbaya and skip down the road with Russia, it's not going to happen.
So why do you think since Trump came in power, because even George W. Bush spoke pretty harshly of Russia, and so did Obama, why all of a sudden, since Trump has come on the scene, has America had a growing pro-Russia sentiment? Why do you think that is?
You'd have to ask MAGA or Trump and hope and pray you get an honest answer. I don't have a clue. I do know this. They don't want Ukraine to associate with NATO members. they don't want us to put a military base, I guess, in Ukraine is probably their thought process. So them taking Ukraine gets them closer to Europe. But again, the United States, it's in our best interest to oppose Russia crossing their border and invading Ukraine. Point blank, period. And it's not, when I say us, I mean the real us. Not annexed version of the Republican Party, which is MAGA.
But wait, well, hold on a second, just to make sure we got clarity, because Craig on YouTube is adamantly, and I think we all know this, but maybe he's hearing something different. He's stating that Ukraine is not a part of NATO. What's wrong with this clown? I don't think anybody is suggesting it.
I never said they were.
Yeah.
But Russia is opposed to Ukraine being close to NATO members. That's exactly what I said. And if I didn't say that, I am saying that now. I didn't say maybe at some point in the future they'll become that, but he's absolutely right. They're not. But what's also true is they don't like them being close to NATO members.
Yeah. They
prefer them to be closer to communism, and they're leaning the other way, and they have a problem with it.
Yeah. All right, I do got to move it on, FSU. It still baffles me, but a lot of folks feel that way. But appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you very much. Looking in the comment section, Budapest memorandum. I don't quite get what you're saying there. They were in the process of becoming that. That's why Russia invaded. Duh. Well, yeah, and I would tell you it is. Now that Russia invaded the Ukraine, they're certainly far more likely to become a member of NATO now, for certain. So at the end of the day, it's probably not going to go well for President Putin unless, now I'll put this unless in quotes because it means a hell of a lot, unless Trump wins. If Trump wins in November, the Ukraine will likely be exactly what my caller before last, Amanda, stated, let Russia have them. That's what would happen. I mean, she is MAGA, and there's nothing wrong with being MAGA, but she is echoing the sentiment of Trump and most MAGA. If the Ukraine falls to Russia, so be it. They're a corrupt country. They got biolabs and neo-Nazis. Who gives a damn? That's what is likely to happen. What a fair degree of certainty if Trump wins. You talk about Biden being a weak president and Russia seizing on the opportunity. If Russia wants to acquire the Ukraine, having an American president that is not only suggesting we're not going to get involved in foreign affairs, we're not even comfortable with NATO anymore, what better chance do you have than that? I would go against anyone that would suggest Putin would be worse with Trump in office than Biden. That makes no sense at all. Trump is making it clear, I'm going to get out of politics in your region. How does that not benefit Russia significantly? So the idea that Putin prefers Biden, I don't see where that makes sense, but a lot of folks believe that. Going to the box, conservative Rich. Good afternoon. That's only a good thing for America, but yeah, somewhat. Until these nations get to be so damn powerful, you still got to deal with them. Conservative, good afternoon.
How we doing, handsome?
I'm doing good. What am I getting wrong?
So, I mean, I think in Ukraine there's negotiations that could be had, just like in Mexico, right? I think we could have Mexico enforce their own immigration laws. And I think we could come to terms with Russia with something.
Well, I want to agree with you, but there's been so many war crimes committed on both sides. Russia believes that the Ukraine has committed war crimes and vice versa. I don't know if they'd be willing to negotiate at this point.
I mean, there's always something, right? Somebody always wants something.
Yeah. Well, we're trying. We cannot even get Israel to stop bombing Hamas.
Trump is he's a never say never guy. You know what I mean? He's gonna find the answer. There's some people out there that just find the answer, find the solution. Well, there's always a solution to be had.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. There's always something. To just throw your hands up and say nope, can't happen is defeatist. and that's terrible, right?
Yeah.
So we want to hope, and I think he did a great job negotiating with Mexico, where Mexico was enforcing their own immigration laws. Mexico has immigration laws. It used to be people just didn't trample through Mexico. You know, I can't just go to Mexico and become a citizen. They have immigration laws, right? So these people that are coming through the country, that's a negotiation that shouldn't be taking place.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but here's the thing I don't get, and I agree with you. Trump does have some decent negotiation skills, but here's what I don't get. Why, if he's saying that Mexico is sending their rapists and murderers, how do you expect them to really sit down and go? I mean, you're saying some pretty horrible things. I mean, do you believe that most immigrants coming into this country are rapists and murderers?
No, I definitely don't.
But he said that.
I know, he said a lot of stuff, man. You know what I mean? I'm sorry he's the guy, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we have to, you know, I agree. We could go over the things that he said all day, and you know what I mean? It's unfortunate that he's a contractor from New York, and that's what America.
Well, you can listen. You can, but hold on. I've heard that talks like a typical New Yorker. If you want to tell somebody off, I get it, but we're talking about flat out lies. I mean, even a typical. Yeah, but when you say rapists and murderers, and that's not true. It doesn't matter if you're a typical New Yorker or not. We're talking about something that's a flat out lie.
Yeah, he's an exaggerator, I would say. You know. And it's just, he exaggerates the points. And that's a New York thing. I think that is a New York thing. It's always millions, you know what I mean? It's always, it's always big. Like, everything is big, big, big. And with people.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, that would be like,
silliness.
But you can't.
Political stage and running for president is wrong.
Yeah, but you can't exaggerate things to the point where you're calling people rapists and murder. I mean, just like when folks say that Trump is a racist, you don't want people exaggerating things if you don't think he's a racist.
You're just referring to like MS-13, right?
Well, the fact is, we've had, particularly under Biden, damn near double-digit millions of immigrants came to this country. I mean, we had some come under Trump, very little come. I think Biden has had 5 times as many of them. If there were rapists and murder, there should be rapes and murders happening everywhere at this point. Between Trump and Biden, 11, 12 million immigrants have come in this country from the southern border. There should be rape and murder victims everywhere. There's not. His statement wasn't just an exaggeration. It's a flat-out lie.
I don't agree that we just have an open border like that. I believe everybody's going through some sort of checkpoint, right? And for the most part, these people are having some sort of background check and where they're from and, what they've done.
I'm with you.
Where they come from. At some point, I would hope our country and our government's doing that.
Yeah, you absolutely win when you say we should vet folks coming in here, and we can't just have an open border. I'm with you 100%, but that don't mean you make up lies to get the problem addressed. You don't just say, well, everybody's a murderer and a rapist. That's not true. I mean, it's not even remotely close to being true. Our jails should be filled with non-citizens at this point. That's just not true.
No, and I agree. It was a terrible statement for Donald Trump to make. And I don't think that's really, this is the land of immigrants. My grandparents were immigrants, right? I mean, a lot of the people I know's grandparents were immigrants. So that's why when I hear about racism and all of this, it's just like, a lot of the people are new to this country to say, it's just.
Well, but here's the thing, though, when you say things that are not true and people have respect for you, like in the comments, Trigger Warning, who was a friend of the program, he's MAGA, he's saying it's close to being true. It's close to being true that most of them are rapists and murderers. So when you say something over and over again, people do tend to believe it. Like, for instance, the woman down in Georgia, the nursing student that was murdered by an illegal immigrant. They're running that over and over and over again, and it's sinking in. Fact is, if there were so many murderers coming in, you shouldn't have to show the same victim over and over again. There should be a new victim on the news every night. But the fact that you're showing the same one over and over and over again, that shows there's not a lot of them. There is not a lot of people being raped and murdered, but folks like...
I agree, but in the argument to be had about mass migration is wages, right? I don't think that's the real argument.
Yeah.
The real argument.
Then present the real argument. I'm with you. I'm with you. The border is out of control. I think Biden's done a shitty job. I'm not arguing that. But that doesn't mean you make up lies to draw attention to it.
No, I think that was a bad comment that Donald Trump made a while back. You know what I mean? And it's like that's now the argument instead of what the actual argument is, which is flooding the market with
What about vermin? What about vermin?
cheap labor. And not only that, I mean, didn't we just pass an executive order that lets you take people home now and let them do labor work around your house? I mean, it's crazy.
It's messed up. I'm not, like I said, I'm not arguing with you. The Biden's done a I'm not arguing with you. Biden done a bad job, but you mentioned he made a bad statement a while back in regards to Trump. What about vermin? You think that these folks coming are vermin?
So there are, so you know, he's handpicking his parts that he wants to. That's what they're gonna do. It's a political tennis match, right? I mean, you hit the ball back and forth, and it just gets ugly. Right?
Yeah, but nobody else is saying that. Nobody.
Let's not go over the propaganda. You know what I mean?
No, but wait a minute. If we can, hold on. If we can hammer Joe Biden for vote for me and you ain't black, why do we ignore vermin or poison in the blood of? I mean, if you're gonna hold people accountable for what they say, does Trump get a pass?
No, definitely not. He never gets a pass.
I mean, we don't look at Biden and say he's a typical old guy. We hold him accountable.
I don't know if we're holding anybody accountable. There's some people who've been waiting for accountability in Washington for 60 years.
Well
said. I really
said.
hope after Donald Trump is elected president, we all come to agree that there's accountability issues in Washington.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that, but that's kind of what Trump promised us, that he was going to drain the swamp and stop that.
Well, that proved to be impossible. That proved to be mission impossible.
But if it's impossible, why did he say promises made, promises kept?
Look at the swamp now. They spent $7 trillion last year.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You're saying it's impossible. Trump said promises made, promises kept. Something's not matching up here.
Donald Trump, well, when Donald Trump, before the pandemic, Donald Trump was doing the job he said he was going to do.
Okay. All right. Well, he may get a second chance. He may get a second chance.
The swamp took over. That's it.
All right. Fair enough. Conservative, always a pleasure. I do got to move it on. You drive a hard bargain. Come on back through.
Thank you again for the show.
You too. Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Moving the program on. Laughing my ass off, old brother, he didn't do anything. Well, I do believe that Trump, first of all, rolling back Roe v. Wade is a huge accomplishment for President Trump. So I'm not going to say he didn't do anything. I'm just going to say that when it comes to the border, I'm with the right. The border's a mess. I'm not pretending like I personally believe that Biden didn't cause some screw-ups. I do believe Biden failed at the border. A lot of folks on the left disagree with me. However, that doesn't mean you make up stuff to hold Biden accountable. The rapists and murderers, vermin, poison in the blood. I don't know where to go with that, but it sounds horrible. It sounds horrible. And in the comments, I had folks suggesting that they are mostly rapists and murderers. That's the stuff that gets people killed. Understand, Trump has promised the largest deportation in U.S. history. A lot of my beloved MAGA favors that. Hell, there are liberals that favor getting these folks out of here. But understand, if Trump wins and we're trying to get millions of rapists and murderers out of the country, there's going to be some violence. Hell, if I thought someone was a rapist or a murderer, I want them taken out in the harshest way possible as well. So if in the deportation process, a rapist or murderer gets killed, who's going to care? Who's going to care? Who would care if a rapist or murderer lost their life? Would you? So understand that during the deportation process, things are likely to get ugly because people have been told that they are vermin poisoning this country. That ain't something you get rid of humanely. You get rid of it by any means necessary. It's a rapist. It's a murderer. So what? So what? He died in the process. It's a rapist. It's a murderer. Think about that. That is how, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but nevertheless, this is what happened to the Jewish people in the 1930s. They were lowered to the point where people thought they weren't worth shit. Something happens, something happens. Who out there cares if a rapist or a murderer loses their life? Do you really care? So that's what can happen. Looking in the comments, unfortunately, with Chaz John 44, his comment says, I lost all respect for you, handsome. What did I do? What did I say? This is a free speech program. If you think I'm full of shit, you can state it in the comments. You know I'm not going to block, ban, or censor you. You know how this runs. If your opinion is completely opposite of mine, no one gives a damn. You're entitled to it. Am I not entitled to the same? Looking in the comments, you are speaking common sense. Okay, Joanne, thank you. Some salvaging. You don't listen to the whole speech. Chaz John, when Biden said, vote for me or you ain't black, who gives a damn what the rest of the speech contained? That shit shouldn't have came out of his mouth. Vermin, I don't care what else was said. Just like when Biden said that, or Barack Obama said Trayvon Martin could be his only son, you didn't give a damn about the rest of the speech either. All of a sudden, when Trump says something, well, now everything must be taken into context. That doesn't make sense to me. Call a square, spade a spade. Balls and strikes no matter who's pitching. Don't change the way you judge something because it's coming from a candidate of your choice. Going back to the box, keep in mind that he will have 4 years to do what he couldn't do the first time. 4 with nothing to lose, says Talga. Well, they think the 4 years will feature draining the swamp, American independence, getting the economy back. So they think the 4 years will be great. So we'll have to see. Going back to the box, and I see Alex says, make America great again. We'll see. Craig, exactly. He's so focused on rapists and murderers and doesn't know what he's talking about. MS-13, I mean, wow. I'm just going to tell you, if they're flooding this country with MS-13, why the hell are police not complaining that most of the people I arrest nowadays are MS-13? Are we to believe that 10, 11 million people came in this country and they all in sync decided to lay low? The jails should be filled, particularly in New York, Chicago now, where all these folks have been sent, should be filled with MS-13 members. If these folks are as violent and dangerous as we're suggesting, it should be a lot of them in jail. They should be more of them should be incarcerated than any other group. Turns out most people in jail are African Americans for drug offenses. I'm just telling you, the optics don't match what we're being told. That doesn't mean the border is not out of control. That doesn't mean what Trump and the right are suggesting on the border don't need to be taken care of. But that don't mean you make wild statements to make a point. I don't see it. Moo, I'll leave it at that. Good afternoon, Moo. Welcome back to the program. Obviously, I'm in the trenches. I'm getting it wrong like crazy today. Moo, the floor is yours.
What's up, man? What's going on? Hey, your caller before the last one, I don't want him to go around saying stuff to make him look silly because I think he's a good guy. Russia's not communist, man. Russia is a capitalist oligarchy. They haven't been communist in like 2-3 decades, man.
Well, they're not free.
No, they're definitely not free. They're ruled by a vicious dictator who would throw any MAGA person who loves them right out the window. But they like that. They are cucks. They like to be ruled by a strong man. So it makes sense that they like Putin.
When it comes to Russia being a capitalist country, I mean, can the average individual start a small business and climb the ranks?
In Russia?
Yeah.
I mean, probably eventually until you get put on someone's radar, then the oligarchy is going to come and get their share, right? Because that's how it works.
If that's the case, I don't see that as being true capitalism then. I mean, not to mention all the regulation you face is probably mob-like.
It's an oligarchy capitalism.
Okay.
Oligarchy capitalism.
All right, fair enough. So at the end of the day, do you see the Supreme Court being pro-Trump?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure they feel some favoritism towards him because they gave him their jobs, but, you know, nobody really thought that they were going to keep him off of Colorado's ballot. I mean, that's not really a surprise to anyone, I don't think. What would be surprising is if they give him immunity, because if they do that, I mean, the country's gone at that point. But yeah, him getting taken or put back on to Colorado, I mean, that's not surprising at all.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not.
anyone's surprised.
But when you say it would be interesting if they give him immunity, why take it up? The lower courts gave him a scathing rebuke. They made it clear you don't get to be, you know, above the law. And then the Supreme Court steps in, we'll listen to the case. Why even take it up if you're not going to give him immunity?
I mean, you know, it may be to try and satisfy his base because his base is crazy. I'm sure they're scared of them just like all the other Republicans are scared of the MAGA base. It may be a show for the base to say, hey, you know, we looked at it at least, right? We looked at it.
Then that's pro-Trump.
Show the American people in general.
So,
you know?
so if you're changing the way you behave to satisfy the MAGA base, then you're pro-Trump.
Sure, yeah, I said they probably are because he gave them their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably have some bias towards him. For him.
So,
You know?
any chance that if the Democrats get control of Congress, they may try to pack the courts? If we starting to suggest that the Supreme Court is being pro-Trump,
I would have. If I was Biden, I'd already packed the court, boy. I would have reinstated Roe versus Wade. I mean, the Republicans would hate me if I was president, bro, because I would run their game on them. I would own them so bad. It would blow their fucking minds. But Biden's not like that. You know what I mean? He won't do that kind of thing. He should, because I blame him. I blame Obama. And I blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg for what's going on right now, because Obama let the Republicans walk all over him. He should have waited until the Senate was out of session and just threw his fucking Supreme Court guy in there and told the Republicans to go pound sand, right? That's what he should have done. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was older than hell, and she knew she was going to kick the bucket soon, and she should have let her replacement be picked while you had a Democrat in office. Yeah. So the Democrats screwed us as far as abortion goes. I completely blame them. And repealing Roe versus Wade isn't an accomplishment. It's literally destroying the country.
Well, let me interrupt.
Dying, doctors, and getting thrown in jail.
Yeah, let me interrupt and say this. When you were talking about, you know, the folks you blame, without due respect, Moo, I blame you. You are a progressive. I blame folks that are far left, the Bernie bros. If it hadn't been for the likes of you, Hillary Clinton would have won in 2016. Trump would have never been president. I blame you.
So you blame me instead of the candidate who couldn't influence enough people to vote for them. That's funny. I thought it was on the candidate to make people want to vote for them. Funny me. I guess I'm wrong.
No, you're right about that. But you divided up the liberal vote and you got Trump, who is completely, totally opposite of what you want. I blame you. If you hadn't have done that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg could have died in office and been replaced by a Hillary Clinton pick. I blame you.
So what you're telling me is it's not up to the candidate to make me want to vote for them. It's on me, despite how bad I think they are or how terrible a job I think they'll do, and they can't influence me otherwise. That's my fault, right? Not the candidate who should be proposing policies that appeal to me so that I want to vote for them, right? No, it's on me.
Yeah, Moo, I blame you and folks that are progressive. You know America is not going to entertain Bernie Sanders type policies right now. Maybe 30, 40 years from now.
Why? Do you know why?
Go ahead.
Because people like you keep saying that. That's why. Because people like you keep saying that, right?
No.
I blame you.
Okay.
I blame you.
All right. Well, okay, we got a gentleman's disagreement. All right, but I do believe that if you guys had jumped on the Hillary Clinton bandwagon, she would have won in 2016, and you would be less.
I don't jump on corporatist bandwagons, bro. I don't jump on the people's wagons who are fucking us. I don't do that.
All right. Well, I think you'd be less unhappy. Ain't no difference in getting fucked or being forced to suck a dick. You're doing both. So
I would have been Ruth Bader Ginsburg was old before Hillary Clinton. Okay, she was old before Hillary Clinton. She could have left, right? Yeah. But just like all these other politicians, right? They got to kick the bucket in office to keep on getting that money, right?
All right.
And let me tell you something right here about money, okay? They're so worried about Hunter Biden and his money. They ain't worried for shit about Jared Kushner taking $2 billion from the Saudi Arabians, right? And he holds political office at the time.
Let me ask you this while
he's not even in office.
While we're having a disagreement, let me ask you this. If you could go back in time to 2016, knowing what you do now, would you have supported Hillary Clinton or let Trump get reelected or get elected?
No, I would have still supported Bernie, and I would have worked harder to keep the DNC from torpedoing his campaign, because we all know that the DNC stopped him in his tracks. And if the DNC would have played it fair, Bernie probably would have had a better chance at winning.
Okay. So who do you think would have been the best president if Bernie is out of the picture between Trump or Hillary Clinton?
I mean, who would be a better president? Hillary would be a better president than Donald Trump.
All right, I think you kind of answered my question from a roundabout way, but Moon, you did what you did. You stand on business. I get it, and here we are. I appreciate it. I do got to move it on, though, Moon.
Oh, yeah, man, absolutely.
All right. And looking in the comments, Clinton every damn day. She's not a traitor. Yeah, Hillary dependent on the polls. Yeah. Hillary Clinton, it is what it is. But I just wanted to fight, because I do personally, me and my last call, and I'm a huge fan of Moo, just like he called the program, but I do believe that for folks on the left, the progressives really hurt them, because they divided the vote, and Hillary Clinton ended up losing because a lot of them, like my last caller said, the DNC screwed Bernie Sanders, so they didn't show up. Some of them got even more angry and they voted for Trump. And now progressives are probably one of the most unhappiest groups out of everyone, because Trump obviously he's obviously conservative right now in office, and his policies are being further and further right. So it's way away from anything the Progressive Party wanted. I mean, they helped Trump win, and yeah, his policies are nowhere in the same universe as progressive. In fact, Trump believes most progressives are idiots. So it is what it is. Looking in the comments, progressives are too radical. They should be unhappy, says everything good in the universe. Yeah, but some would say the same thing about the far right. Suggesting a woman cannot terminate a pregnancy even if her life is at risk, that's radical as well. That's actual law. We can talk about socialism and all that other shit that you think Bernie Sanders wants. This is law. This has actually become law in areas where you could be forced to carry a baby to term, even if it's not viable. Had a woman down in Louisiana, a baby didn't have a skull. Didn't even have a skull, and they were trying to force her to carry the baby to term. That's not radical, that's law. Look it in the comments. And somebody says in Texas, yeah, it's radical can be on both sides. We hear about AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the far left all the time. You don't hear people talking about the far right, but the far right is real. The Taliban is far right. There is far right in America. That does exist. If you want everything to be Christianity and you don't give a damn about the other religions, that's far right. There is far right politicians in this country. They just don't talk about them, but that does exist, and it is just as radical as the far left. It does exist. Going back to the box, appreciate you folks that are holding on, by the way. We'll go straight to user. I don't know what I just hit there, but elections are to make you think we still have control of our government. You do still have some control, particularly on the down ballot elections. Your vote does matter. At the presidential election, once you throw in the electoral college and things like that, there's some finagling that can cause your vote not to be counted as much. But at the down ballot, you're voting in city council and shit, yeah, your vote definitely matters. Where was the baby with a skull? Louisiana. It was an African-American, pregnant African-American woman. That happened in Louisiana. Looking in the comments. And then, of course, was it named Kate Cox? Had a chromosome issue with a baby where they said the baby had a 95% chance of not living and her life was in danger. She fled Texas. You had an Ohio case where a 10-year-old was impregnated by uncle or something like that. And they were trying to force the 10-year-old to have the, I mean, there's a lot of cases. I'm just giving you some of them. We haven't even talked about what they're doing in Alabama. Frozen embryo is a minor. So yeah, it's radical. That's far right. That is far right ideology. Just like saying, a person should be taken care of cradle to grave. That's far left. Far right ideology is radical too. They just don't want to talk about it if you watch right-wing media. Going back to the box. Tear it off. That's an interesting name. Good afternoon. Tear it off. Welcome to the program if it allows you to come in. So you will blame Arab Americans and leftists if Biden loses in 2024 instead of just blaming Biden. No, if Biden loses, it's Biden's fault. Biden has been told over and over again, dude, you're too old. Your poll numbers, even among liberals, are bad. You should step down. He is continuing to pursue otherwise. If Biden loses, a lot of it is his fault. No, I'm not going to blame anybody else. Same with Trump. You got everybody from Chris Christian and Nikki Haley telling Trump, dude, you cannot win in a general election. You're too toxic. He's going to run anyway. If Trump loses, it's Trump's fault. Both of these men have been told your poll numbers suck. How many Republicans is Nikki Haley and those other folks getting in these various states? It's clear at least 20 to 30% of Republicans don't want Trump. He's going to run anyway. If he loses, it's his fault. Both of these men are being warned. Your numbers are not good, even with your parties. They're running anyway. Looking in the comments. We'll continue on. I don't know why I'm having so much problems, but we'll try it one more time here. Adrian Thomas. So you, real quick. Nikki Haley is getting a lot of Democrats voting for her in the primary. I said 20%. Nikki Haley's getting as much as 40% in some areas. I'm giving credit for the fact that some Democrats are voting for her. But her votes ain't 100% Democrat. I can tell you that. When she has town halls, them ain't Democrats in the audience. Ain't no Democrat coming out to a Nikki Haley town hall. Folks are showing up for her. At least 20% of Republicans, you guys refer to them as never Trumpers. They do exist. They do exist. Nikki is a Democrat. What has Nikki Haley did that the Democratic Party is like, hey, yeah, she one of us? Nikki Haley ain't a Democrat. She's not a far-right politician, but she's not a Democrat. Democrat? Wow. Both sides. If she's a Democrat, why did Trump appoint her ambassador? Why did South Carolina elect her twice as governor? Did she just magically become a Democrat when her opposition was Trump? She's got deep roots in the Republican Party. All of a sudden now she's a Democrat? How does that doesn't make any sense. The woman has a record. The woman has an actual record. She appointed Tim Scott. What Democrat would do that shit? That makes no sense at all. Nikki Haley is a Democrat. Why couldn't she win in her own state? Because Trump's popularity beat her ass. There's nothing surprising about that. Trump has a strong amount of popularity. But she did get 40% of the vote in her state. Those weren't all Democrats, folks. She does have some folks that support her. She's establishment Republican. The people before Trump. That makes more sense, April. That does make more sense. I don't know why I'm not able to bring anyone up. We'll try it one more time. We're having real trouble with the box. Real quick, looking at the comments. Not anymore. She's broke. No TV, no travel. Browns backer. Well, Super Tuesday is so close now, it doesn't matter. She survived until Super Tuesday. So you may be right. I mean, I know the remaining Koch brother withdrew any campaign contributions to her. She probably is getting low on money, but it is what it is at this point. She stayed in long enough to make a point that there is a significant percentage of folks that ain't supporting Trump that are Republican. If you believe that all of Nikki Haley's votes are coming from Democrats, Yeah, you're turning a blind eye to reality. She's showing that there's a lot of Republicans that don't want Trump. But he will get the nomination without a shadow of a doubt. More Republicans by far do want Trump, but she's showing that there is cracks in the pavement. She's showing there are some weaknesses. Nikki Haley and Kamala Harris are cousins. Just like Barack Obama and George W. Bush are brothers. Look, I don't know where this shit comes from. I don't know. And I don't know if it even matters at that point. I got relatives that want to vote against what I want to vote for. So what if they're cousins? What does that matter? I don't understand that. Only the missing farm people will vote for Haley. Then why did Trump vote for her to be ambassador? Why did he appoint her ambassador? Why did South Carolina vote for her to be governor twice? She didn't become an idiot until she had issues with Trump. No different than Ron DeSanctimonious, Mike Pence. All of these folks are respected politicians. Until they have a difference of opinion with Trump, then they suddenly become idiots. Mike Pence could show up to any Trump rally, Trump's entire term, and get celebrated. January 6th, he needed to be hung. How does that happen? How does that happen? You go from greatness to nothing. Trump would bring General Mattis on stage. Mad Dog Mattis. Everybody's applauding. The moment Trump says all of a sudden he's the most overrated general in U.S. history, then why was he on stage with you? Now all of a sudden there's a problem with him. I don't get it. Maybe you guys can explain it to me. He was never great. Who are you kidding? Then how the hell did he become a general? You're telling me Mattis was never great? Wow. How did he become a general? Trump throws everyone under the bus. Yikes. Because Republican Party is now a cult, says Jess B. Looking in the comments here on YouTube, by the way. Ask Caesar how quickly things can change. Well stated, Joseph. Well stated. If you want to be homeless, vote Trump, says Amir. I don't know if the economy was good under Trump. Folks favored the economy under Trump. I don't think I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a stretch. Vivek was the most promising, truly. Vivek was Trump light. Not saying Vivek couldn't have got things done possibly, but is there anything Vivek different from Trump on? Anything? I mean, he was basically Trump. So if Trump is still in the race, why not just vote for Trump? I mean, I don't think he had a difference of policies with Trump on anything. He's already stated he pardoned him. He stated he was a great president, which I watched all four debates, Republican debates without Trump there. Everybody's on stage, including Nikki Haley. Trump was a great president. You know, he's not responsible for January 6th. Done the job right. He's still in the fucking race. Why not just vote for him? What the hell you're up here for? If you're here to tell me how great he's doing, why not join us and just vote for the dude? He's still running. What are you here for? I never could understand that. I'm having incredible difficulty with the box. Do you think that they're going to stall the election? Billy, don't you lose my number. In regards to, do I think they're going to stall the election? If Trump is ruled by the Supreme Court to have immunity, it opens a Pandora's box to any damn thing happening. Folks, remember, we don't want Trump's name to be removed from the ballot because it opens up Pandora's box. If Colorado can remove Trump's name from the ballot, Ron DeSantis can say he fucked up at the border and remove Biden's name. So you don't want candidates being removed from the ballot by individual states because anybody can do anything. But when you ask if they're going to stall the election, well, if you got January 6th happening and you can do that and you're granted immunity, it does open the door for Biden to do the same thing. Make no mistake about it, that was the goal of January 6th, is to stall the election. If a president can do that and he's immune from it, it does open the door for Biden to potentially do that. I don't know if Biden will go down that path, but you do giving a president immunity while another president is in office is dangerous. It's not like Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy is president right now while you're granting Trump immunity. You have his opposition in there while you're granting Trump immunity. So my guess is if you grant Trump immunity, Biden's attorneys are going to start saying, well, let's see what you can get away with. After all, they said it's okay. So think about that. While we're trying to save Trump, it is a possibility of throwing out the baby with the bathwater, for lack of a better phrase. It does open up the door for Biden to be able to do a few things. January 6th is a Democrat coup d'etat, says Calvin. I sure wish some of the Republicans that were there that day would say what you're saying. Maybe we could get somewhere. All of the Republican senators, Republican Congress, and the Republican VP was there on January 6th. None of them are saying it was a Democratic coup d'etat. How do you know what they don't know when they were actually there? Appreciate the comment. Going back to the box, I'm not going to be to take a call, apparently. Something is jacked up. I do appreciate the few that are on YouTube smashing the like button. Listen, I understand some of the material today is not something MAGA might favor. Tomorrow it might be a whole different story. But I do appreciate those who are tapping the screen on TikTok and those few that are smashing the like button on YouTube. We're here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. This is an uncensored program. So you're definitely going to hear commentary, folks in the box that you agree and disagree with, because we believe in free speech. If you want a program where everybody is saying things you agree with, this is not the place. It's not. It's all about free speech here. So you're going to have folks that, what do I say all the time, left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Some people don't like an opposing opinion. I get it. You're going to hear it all here. That's how the program is read. January 6th, FBI was involved. Perhaps, but that doesn't exclude the possibility that the FBI wasn't the only ones involved. Where is the fact? Where is the actual evidence? Where are the Republican senators, Congress stating that? Why would Republicans that favor Trump not tell us this was a Democratic coup? Antifa did this. It was Black Lives Matter. Ray Epps, FBI. Why aren't they saying that? How many folks have been arrested, incarcerated for January 6th? Why aren't they in jail saying, I wasn't going to do this until Ray Epps told me to, which, by the way, is not an excuse, but most of the folks that were there that day are not saying that. The day it happened, and I'll tell you this also, this is what hurts credibility. I'm watching Fox News cover this event when it's happening on January 6th. Judge Jeanine Pirro, if you watch Fox News, you know who she is, stated that day, oh, that's Antifa. She's in a studio in New York. She's not there. So there's been so much misinformation from day one, trying to blame it on other people, that is really hard to get down to the bottom of it. From the moment it happened, first it was Black Lives Matter. Then it was Antifa. Later it became Ray Epps. Then it was the FBI. Fuck it, now it's the Democrats. Fuck it, just put it all on them. Where's the actual evidence, though? Where's the actual evidence? Why won't the Republicans that were there that day say that stuff? Name names. Give us some names other than just Ray Epps all over. Give us some names. Maybe we can make something happen. Look at it in the comments. They don't have any evidence. That's why it says it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. There should be more evidence of Antifa, Black Lives Matter. Why would Black Lives Matter show up to an event like that? A sea of red hats and Trump flags. Why would Black Lives Matter show up to that? There are a lot of folks who said it was Black Lives Matter in the beginning until they looked at the audience and nobody was black. So they had to retract that. Antifa, maybe. It's a lot of white Antifa. I don't think there was 10 black people at the Capitol building. So the Black Lives Matter thing fizzled real quick, but they did try it. They did say that in the beginning. Look at it in the comments. John Sullivan, Antifa leader, was arrested at January 6th. But does that mean the entire event was Antifa based? Now, the people they arrested, they went on YouTube, or better yet, Facebook, looked up their pages and found all kinds of pro-Trump shit. I'm assuming, do we think Ashley Babbitt was Antifa? Maybe she was a member of Black Lives Matter. I don't know. Look at it in the comments. It's a shame some of the women in the government has to show these wimps up. We'll see what happens. I don't know. A lot of my female Trump supporters out there, they may not do that. Nobody said the entire event was Antifa based. Yes, they have. Judge Janine Pirro said it on January 6th. Oh, that's Antifa. She did say that. She said it. I was watching it when she said it. Going back to the box, let's try it one more time. Doozy had so much trouble out of the box today, I don't think the program can run. It looks like it's doing it again. Real quick, looking in the comments on YouTube, I don't know what I just did there. Antifa was there. They're always there. Okay, that's fine if Antifa was there, but that don't mean they swung the damn event. I mean, I'm sure there was a Hispanic in the crowd. That don't mean you get to blame it on the Hispanics. What happened on January 6th was MAGA, period. It was folks who believed Trump was mistreated in his 2020 victory, and they were protesting it. That's what happened on January 6th. Antifa didn't draw any lines, plans about what to do. Black Lives Matter, no. It was people who believed the election was stolen from Trump, and they were angry. That's who it was. That is the overwhelming majority of the people that were there that day. In fact is, Trump suggested he would pardon them. Doing a J6 choir national anthem shows he doesn't even believe it was Antifa. Has Trump ever said that, by the way? That it was Antifa or Black Lives Matter? Has Trump ever blamed it on Antifa? I don't think I've ever heard that. Trump suggested it was a love fest. Trump said January 6th was a great day. Where did the Antifa come from? I've never heard Trump say he was Antifa. He was also there that day. I don't know, did Giuliani, Sidney Powell, did any of them say it was Antifa? I have not heard that from anyone that was there that day. That's all been commentators, editorialists on the outside of the event. Many of them were not even in Washington, like Judge Janine Pirro. Real quick in the comments, Trump was just happy it happened, says Sean 333. Well, it is something that would give you a hard on to know so many folks are down with you, that they're willing to do that. I mean, listen, that's something to be proud of, even though what's happening is criminal, but I get it. But yeah, it does look like that. Trump called them to storm the Capitol. He's denying it, so we'll leave it at that. January 6th happened because it wasn't organized or planned. I believe that. I definitely believe it wasn't planned, because if it was, it would have been far more successful. Keep in mind, they had the entire head of the U.S. government in one building, with the exception of Trump. If they had succeeded, caught up with Nancy Pelosi, put Mike Pence in that device they had, we would have lost the entire head of the U.S. government, only having Trump behind to fill all of the slots. Puts Trump in an incredibly advantageous position, doesn't it? Does it not? You get rid of all of the Senate, Congress, Vice President, and Trump is the only one left. He gets to make a hell of a lot of really powerful decisions, don't he? Appointments. Puts him in a really good position. Look at it in the comments. Imagine if they got Nanny. I'm assuming you're talking about Nancy Pelosi. Amira, you're an embarrassment to Bosnian history. Our people are conservative. If they had the Constitution in our motherland, in the Balkans, there would never have been a war. I can't speak on that. That's Eastern Europe shit, but you guys in the comments. Talk among yourselves. Wow. Real quick. We heard him. Remember, it will be wild. Yes, it was. That was Steve Bannon said, come on January 6th, it'll be wild. I'm just going to say this. Regardless of what happened on January 6th, you should be disappointed, really disappointed, that we're 3 years out and the amount of evidence that the election was stolen is still subjective at best. That shit should be solid by now. If Trump, the evidence that the election was stolen should be solid. It's not. It's not. There's evidence everywhere that can be questioned. And that alone, it's disappointing. Disappointing that you would go and tell those people that. And we're 3 years out and the evidence is just not there. I mean, I guess we can say that Biden is in control and he's buried of it or something. I don't know. But it's disappointing because people threw their whole lives away believing that. Ashley Babbitt is not even here anymore. We're talking January 6th was 2 months, 2 days after the election. There's no way in hell they had enough proof that quickly to act like they did on that day. But we're 3 years out and they still don't have enough proof to act like that. That's disappointing because a lot of people bought the farm for that. Rudolph Giuliani, his legacy is destroyed, he's broke. Mike Lindell probably barely has one of those pillows himself. Folks got felonies, folks have done time. Now Trump is doing all right. Trump is doing all right, but his supporting cast, not so much, not so much. Anyhow, folks, the box is jacked up today. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. We'll continue it tomorrow, 1 p.m. Subscribe if you enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle, without any issue of being blocked, banned, or censored. I appreciate you tuning in. Real quick on YouTube, thank you very much. I don't know, the program's kind of jacked up today. Couldn't really bring up more callers. Something's happening with the TikTok app. So having said that, we'll give it a shot again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Subscribe to the damn channel if you enjoy civilized dialogue. You know what we say. Nevertheless, I see somebody says go meditate. We'll do that. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. See you tomorrow.